So I had my neighbor help me push the body in here yesterday, the four-door body, into the garage, and the front wheel on the caster actually got stuck on it was a little bitty piece of gravel, and so I stopped pushing to walk around the front to see what was wrong with it, and he just turned around backwards up against the four-door body and really gave her a heave-ho, and it hard turned right into the two-door hardtop, and he kept on us pushing. So I got this all in the quarter, all down right there, all down right there. How awesome is that? Would that make you mad? Ah, I'm just kidding. It's dust. It's from my pants. When the four-door body's in here and I walk through, it my jeans kind of rub it, and it just made a mess. Gotcha. Well, I'm in between the rain, so I left my garage door open a little bit ago, and I went in there and I was importing some GoPro footage, and then my dog started pawing at me, so I took her out behind the house to do number 2. Usually takes her quite a while, and anyway, I come back out front and I find this in my driveway. So Terry, the subscriber that's brought me parts, this is the 3rd time he's brought me parts for the 4-door, so thanks again, Terry. What a guy. Deluxe heater box. I needed a pair of sun visors because I don't have any. It seems like there was sun visors in that car, but I can't find them. So anyway, I mean, you know, they need upholstered or whatever, but I've got an idea how I'm going to do it. But I definitely needed the pivots, you know. They'll clean up all right. Anyway, that's the I needed the main box. I've got the piece here because I replaced the studs, and these are bent as well, but it's just common. You see this a lot on them 55 and 6 Deluxe heater boxes. Studs seem like they're always bent. But anyway, thanks again, Terry. That's pretty awesome, man. I got my Deluxe heater box assembly I needed the main housing for, but man, it's awesome. Anyway, guys, had to do a video. All right, guys, so I'm going to do something today. It's kind of out of order. My back's a little irritated today, so I didn't really want to get down under the car and do some work underneath like I've been having to do. So what I've decided to do is try to build the mount that goes behind the factory speaker housing over here, or where the factory speaker would go. In case you don't know, in 55, you got a 6x9 speaker here, and you got a 6x9 speaker back there with the 2 holes close together in the deck. Somebody's cut out for smaller round speakers on each side, but anyway, I wanted to fabricate a panel out of sheet metal, and I want it to bolt in just like factory, but I want it to be able to hold 6x9s, because I am just going to put one 6x9 there and one 6x9 there, just like it's supposed to be. So it's kind of out of order, like stereo doesn't even need to be thought of right now with everything else that needs to be going on. So what I wanted to do is fabricate this before any paintwork got on here, so I don't chip or scratch the dash trying to, you know, make something. And everything's gutted out in here, and I can basically grind in here, or, you know, file fit something and not have to worry about stuff going everywhere. So anyway, I got on eBay and I looked around. Now on eBay, speakers, 6x9 speakers are mild to wild, and I actually went to Walmart, and the speakers there were pretty expensive for name brand. Now I am not a super big audio guy, so anyway, I remember back in my day in the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, Hyphonics was pretty good. So I looked around on eBay, and these were $35 for the pair with free shipping. So I went ahead and bought them. I think 35 bucks for a pair of 6x9s is pretty good buy. These are I don't know what the wattage is. Doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna have a radio in it. It doesn't matter. But Anyway, I think 35 bucks is a pretty good buy. So anyway, I'm going to build a panel here. Now, I went to my local hardware store a while ago, and I bought some sheet metal just to do that. Now, I got some thick stuff because I don't want it vibrating and I don't want it flexible. So I got this thing of steel here. This is 16 gauge and it's 12 by 18, and it was like 15 bucks, I think. It's pretty thick stuff, but anyway, the factory had a speaker housing mount here, and I've used it in my hardtop, but I welded in a fill plate so you can't see down in behind the dash through the speaker grill, so there's not anything behind it except a block-off plate. And I bent sides on both sides so you can't see down at an angle down in there. But this car, I want the speaker in there. I want this car to kind of be like original-ish, so I definitely want a speaker in here. But always thought that was kind of funny. Their idea of surround sound was a 6x9 on one side of the dash and then a 6x9 on the opposite side deck. But anyway, there's two holes under here. One here, it's the smaller of the group here. One there, and that's where the factory thing mounts. But it also mounts up through these up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out some pieces for strap. Unless I can get it all in one piece. I might be able to get it in one piece. I'll try that first. But anyway, I'm basically going to build two strap style pieces to come over, drill holes in it, and then I'm going to weld some nuts on the back side so I can use some sheet metal Phillips head, pan head style screws in there. Oval head, not pan head. So it'll look like a stock screw, but it'll actually be not coarse thread screw. It'll be a machine screw. You know, I'll have threads on it and nut. But, you know, I'll probably do the same thing down here, but I'll use some stainless Allen buttons because they're really, really shallow heads to bolt it on. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of work to do just for this. But anyway, just a fabrication thing that I'm going to do. So I got my piece of paper out here. I've got a marker, I got a little straight edge, and I need to get my tape measure, so I'm gonna get started. Well, this is kind of fun. I'm a little nervous because there's a couple of things that go up in there behind the dash that I don't have in the car. But anyway, I'm trying right now to figure out whether I should mount the speaker in from behind or go ahead and cut the hole out where the speaker will lay in from the front. So I'm trying to figure out the depth I have, which is pretty much a 1/2 inch thickness, but this tweeter sticks out a little bit further. So what I have to worry about is if I mount that in the front of this, I don't want this part right here because it goes in pretty far. I don't want this hitting that. So what I tried to do was mark a straight line here, and then I want to take this back out and then lay it down and then stick that on there and get my circle, and then I'll see if I got enough room to place a speaker, because at this point it kind of looks like it's going to be a little tough. But anyway, I ended up putting some bends in this piece, and I've got some strap pieces up here. Well, I'll just take it out and show it to you. Alright, so here's the template. I've got a couple of bent pieces in there. That's the flange down there at the bottom to mount it to the bottom of the dash. There's a little channel under there, and I did notice there's a square plate, nut plate, spot welded under there for the pull cables to mount to for your floor vent. So that's why I had to cut that bottom flange in a little bit. I just did the other side to make it even, but anyway, so I put that bend in that to get that up, and then I just put two pieces of, is actually my cutoffs, and I cut them both at, I think it's 2 5/8 long. Anyway, I taped them on, and I punched holes in that with the old redneck way, which is shell casings, and hit them with a hammer on a piece of wood, and they actually punch out the wood real nice, so, or the template. And then I was actually using some 1024 machine screws and some nuts to actually bolt this in. I want to get this as accurate as possible on the template, because when I transfer it to steel, there ain't no going back. So there's not going to be enough of that steel piece to do it again in case I screw this one up. So I don't want to have to spend another 15 bucks on another piece of steel. I wanted to make it a one-shot deal, but Anyway, I'd really like for that speaker, I want to be able to cut this hole out for the 6x9 to where the speaker goes in from the front. That way this grained outer edge is visible, which I don't really care for that, but it is what it is. But anyway, you got to try to basically look through that mesh anyway. Well, you can really see it through there actually. But, you know, in a dash with it all black, it's not in there shaded, no light, it's going to be harder to see the speaker. Which I don't care if it's visible or not, but this is just the way I'm going to do it. I did look in the catalogs, and they do sell a mount thing, and it's like 30 bucks. So I'll have, you know, 15 in this one, which it's getting close to 30, but I really didn't understand it when I looked at it. It just looked like a square piece running down, like I didn't understand it, so I'm just going to build my own. That way I know it actually works. But to my surprise, it says they're 400 watts, which that's a decent sized magnet for a 6x9, which the ones on my hardtop are a lot bigger magnet than that on them 6x9s, but they're kickers. Anyway, these are just a, you know, good inexpensive speaker. I had 47 bucks in PayPal, and these were 35, so I just went ahead and grabbed them. That way I can get this made, and I think I'll probably just use some Krylon spray paint on this, but I may hit it with some aerosol bed liner in a can. That way it's a little bit more durable. But anyway, right now I got to try to figure out my speaker placement, so here we go. Alright, so I transferred my template to the steel, kind of drew it all out, and then I went ahead and drilled my holes on a piece of wood here. So now I'm going to cut them out. I don't know if I have any metal cutting blades for my jigsaw. It'd be awesome to cut this out with. So I may try my plasma cutter. What I think I'm going to do is I've got this old thing off a blown up speaker. I removed this off of it to use for a template or, you know, whatever in the future. So I think I'm going to go ahead and bolt this down. And then I'm just going to use the plasma cutter and use that as the guide, because I don't care if it melts this, because it's just off an old speaker. It was blown up, so I mean, it's obviously going to melt it from the heat, but I think I can get it cut out before it, you know, melts anything. Anyway, I'll give it a try. Alright, so I got the speaker screwed into the panel. I'm getting ready to test fit it in the car, but I had to put quite a few bends in it, and I even got the tabs on as one piece and bent those over. But anyway, that'll work, man. It really, if you've ever taken an original speaker mount out, it looks really, really similar. Similar, it's not the same, it's similar. But I actually used the factory one on my hardtop, but I cut out the, they actually have a wide strappy mesh thing that curves in, if I remember right, and I had to cut that out. But I did use the factory mount. But I ended up putting sheet metal in here and then 90'd the sides to come up so you can't see down inside the dash, because I've got speaker pods in the dash and 2 6x9s in the deck. So this is actually just a block-off plate with nothing in it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in here since everything's covered, but see, I put speakers in my dash and pods that I made out of exhaust tips with screen mesh for the grill. There's kicker 3.5s behind that. But over here I changed the mesh out in the speaker housing so you could see down in behind the dash. So I built that factory speaker mount into a block-off plate and painted it all flat black. Anyway, that is ready to be test fit, so I'm going to do that. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. It needs painted, but right now it's just raw sheet metal, but pretty much the whole car is raw sheet metal at this point anyway. I think I changed my mind on welding the nuts to the sheet metal housing I made. It's real easy to get to the bottom of it. The screws actually go up this direction. I've actually just slipped one down this way to set that in there, but anyway, the screws will actually go in the bottom of the dash just like that, and then I can get the nuts on the back, but I'll use a little lock washer nut on the back. And then on the top, on the 2 tabs that I bent over to mount up here, I'm going to use kind of what the factory used, which these are off of this dash, but these are too long. I've got some shorter ones, some universal ones that I'll slip on there, and I'll slip those onto my tabs. That way I can go ahead and use a regular trim screw up in here, interior screw, that go in there, the factory ones. But it'll be easier for me, I think, to find that hole for that bracket, whereas if I welded a nut to those tabs, it would be kind of hard to line up to get that sheet metal screw on there without stripping it. So I think I'm just going to do that after I get it all painted. I'll slide some universal clips on there, and that'll take a number 8 screw. So I think it looks pretty cool. So here is the bezel. These things are kind of a pain in the butt to get in there just right. There we go. So this is all original stuff. I just took the screen out from behind it, and both grills basically took them out, spray painted them Krylon matte black, and then I polished the script up, and then I polished all this stuff up separate. But what I usually do on these things is I grind these rivets off. I just grind them till the head disappears, and then I've got a whole little slide tray of little fine jewelers, Phillips screws, little bitty things, and they actually have self-drilling on the end. So I usually drill the hole into the housing, and then I'll use the screw and let it, self-tap itself in there. But that allows me to take the screen off and paint it, and then put it back on, so you get a nicer finished product because you did everything separate. It's kind of funny, the Terry, the subscriber that's been dropping off parts for me, I think this bezel, this came out of his box of goodies he gave me. I think this bezel's in better shape than the one I got, so I think I might try to clean this one up and restore it. But I'll just grind the rivets off of this and then drill the holes, and then I'll use my screen and all that stuff and my screws I've already got in this one. But I think this one will clean up a heck of a lot nicer than the one I have. But just have to see. But anyway, that's it. All I got left to do now is pretty much just paint the sheet metal bracket I made, and it's done. Right now I'll go through all my slide trays here and my containers and see if I have some. I need 2 1024 stainless steel Allen button heads. These little dudes right here I've got scattered in here. There's one right there. There's another one right there. Oh, that was easy. And then I'll grab a couple of number 10 lock washers there. So this is what will go up through the bottom of the dash up in there. So the only thing sticking out will be that head. I'll polish it on the buffing wheel. But these Phillips machine screws, they got a really thick head on them, and the button heads don't have quite that thick of a head. So to me it'll just look better. A little bit lower profile basically. Also thought I took the nameplate off of the grill for the other speaker, since I'm not going to be using the grill, and it's actually metal, which was kind of surprising. I think it's aluminum, but Anyway, I kind of bent it into a little bitty shape there, and I thought about putting some, just a little strip of 3M double-sided tape on there, and maybe putting that on there like that. I think that looks kind of cool. I thought about leaving it flat and putting it here, but I don't really like the look of it. It's too busy with that script up there, and up there it just wouldn't look right. I think it looks kind of cool in that. Like going right through the middle of this circle, a little bead there. I don't know. I might or might not put it on there. I don't know. With it, you know, satin black or matte black, it kind of goes with the speaker grill in there, so I think it's kind of cool. I may do it. Hell, who knows? Thanks for watching.